Ian, we have a Patreon.
We do.
How do you access the Patreon?
Go to patreon.com/CPodcast. You get the full audio podcast.
Full video podcast.
Full video podcast.
That's your new screw up. You're not screwing up the website address anymore. You're screwing up what's actually on our Patreon.
Full video podcast. I do writings on
the full audio is free, by the way.
Yeah, full audio
Podbean,
is free.
Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify. It's free.
Yeah. I got to do a writing for this week. I do a writing up there. We do polls. We do poll topics,
including this one, Ian.
And I do a hangout. I just had my hangout last week.
So in third place, this Patreon poll. In third place, what was your favorite thing about the start of summer, and were you a beach kid? 16%. Do you not like our beach and Jersey Shore stories? I got tons of them. Come on, man. So every summer as a kid. In second place at 27%, what were your favorite book/book series growing up or recently? And in first place, Ian, emotional moments when gaming.
So
it's an emotional CU podcast topic.
There's one that always sticks out for me. It's Final Fantasy related, but it's not Final Fantasy VII related.
It's not when the person, spoilers, gets killed?
Right, it's not when the person gets killed.
They got stabbed, right?
Yeah. Run right through.
Oh, no.
It's not when the person gets killed in Final Fantasy VII. It's Final Fantasy IX is my favorite Final Fantasy. I love that game to death. When it came out, they kind of, harkened back to it like being a little bit more like old school. The characters were like cuter looking, more chibi, more stylized. Final Fantasy VIII had released, and Final Fantasy VIII they tried to make the characters look very realistic. And Final Fantasy VII was them just playing with graphics for the first time. So there was kind of this like excitement about it going back to like a fantasy, like a fantasy theme, and the characters being like chibi and stuff like that. And it's got one of my favorite casts in all of video games. The Final Fantasy IX cast is great. There's Vivi, the little mage. And then there's Zidane, the monkey-tailed boy. There's Steiner, the knight who is a guard, who's hilarious and very well written. And overall, it's really good. There's a cook character in the game named Quina.
Quina.
Okay. Quina's. That's what she looks like. I don't know if it's a she or if it's a he, but Quina's a big character. Yeah.
Oh, it's spelled Quina.
Yes.
Quina Quinn?
Quina Quinn.
Okay.
And there is a scene in Final Fantasy IX.
Looks like a Ghostbusters ghost with a big tongue.
Queen is great. Fights with a big fork. It's got a big spoon too, I think. It's got the big cooking utensils. But there's a scene in, I think it's the third disc, where Quina and Vivi end up getting married. And it's a comic scene, but it sticks out. It's a very comedic scene, but it sticks out in my head for whatever reason. I don't know if emotional's the right word, but like it's a very
You felt an emotion.
It's a very cute, adorable scene.
That's an emotion.
Yeah.
You felt happiness.
Yes, it's a very cute emotional.
Wait,
scene.
This was in the middle of the first game that he or she was in?
It's the only games they're in.
Okay. So it happens in that one game. It wasn't like you got to know the character, then another game.
No, that's not how Final Fantasy works.
None of them have characters that show up again?
Only the ones that have direct sequels, but no,
okay.
all Final Fantasies are
generations apart.
They're different worlds.
But they all have the same haircut. But okay.
They all have the same haircuts, and they all have chocobos. So that one has always stuck out for me, and yeah, I don't know, that would be my answer to that question.
Really? That's it?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go deep dive on this. See, to me, this could take on multiple meanings. This could not just be what emotions I felt while gaming. What if it's emotions I felt, being around people while gaming, or Christmas getting a present.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about the emotions of when I first got the NES in Christmas of 87, that was, I didn't have a lot of good Christmases in terms of like happy memories, because not that I was a brat and was always disappointed. It always seems things were just off just enough where I wasn't totally like pleased with what the result was, we'll just say. But the Christmas 87,
unhappy Pat.
Christmas 87 was great because all I badgered my father for 3 months before, because I knew there was no Santa by 87 when I was 7. I was like, oh, look at how much. Look at I literally was Ralphie with the BB gun. Oh, look at the advertisement. It's on. You know, it's like whatever. It's $150 to get the NES at tops. You know. So he knew that's what I wanted, and he would have been damned forever if he didn't get that. But when I got it though, you still get that. Oh, you get that rush when you open that wrapping paper. And I saw I got the course. I didn't get the deluxe NES, but you know, or even the action set, whatever. My dad was on a budget. I got the one with Mario though, and I was still happy. I got Mario. And then my uncle Jimmy from last week,
Uncle Jimmy,
got me. I can't remember if he got me Spy Hunter or Akari Warriors. He probably, I don't know. My dad knew I loved Spy Hunter from the arcade, so that was why I got that one. But then I got Akari Warriors. I'm not sure why that one was chosen. I don't remember playing that one in the arcade. It was in the. This is why that was in the same arcade at Spaceport where Spy Hunter was. So my father probably saw it and said, "Well, that's a game he might like."
That's a game,
and it was not. It was a game I enjoyed playing because I only had 3 games at the time. But that got played the least out of all 3. I'll just say that. But it was the only simultaneous multiplayer with my sister. But I don't think she enjoyed playing that. We played. Super Mario Brothers.
No one enjoys the NES version of Akari Warriors.
No one does.
It's not fun.
No. But anyway, so that was you get that exhilaration of that feeling, or the exhilaration of going to Crazy Eddie and getting Mike Tyson's Punch Out there. When I was let's see, that would have been the next year, 88. I got that game. So for my birthday. So it was always that exhilarating feeling of getting it. The bad emotion though was I think I've told the story 2 times. But when you save up for about 6-7 months, your allowance money, to go to Electronic Boutique and pay $60 for, that face. I think it was 60. It was at least 50 for 3 Stooges on the NES. And I enjoyed that game over time. I grew to love it. But it was not what little Patrick was expecting 3 Stooges to be. I expected a platformer. I expected even a one-screen freaking arcade game. I didn't expect a bunch of mini games in my 3 Stooges game at the time. So I was disappointed. I got that rush. It was that feel. It was almost the same feeling as if you had gambled, because it was a gamble at the time. Because you had no way of knowing if it was good or not. It was a feeling you get if you ever gambled out there and you lost a lot of money at one point. That pit in your stomach sort of feeling.
Yeah,
I gambled $50.
How far into the game did you get before you realized, oh, this was a mistake? When did you realize that this was all you were getting?
Well, first I got they from the troll job. I did get trolled because when you're 8 years old, or 9 years old, you're like, wait a minute, Ghostbusters 2. So that was a good troll job. Then I laughed at that. I think I realized once I started replaying the same game again. Oh, I just threw the pies. Oh, I'm throwing them again. Oh. Wait a second. There's no depth to this game. That's what got me. Where it's like, wow, there's no depth. And I wasn't expecting like Super Mario 3, but which actually didn't come out till 90, so I wasn't expecting it at all. But I was expecting maybe a game that would have taken me an hour or 2 to beat. You know, like a game where like I'm playing as Curly and I'm jumping and hopping and bashing guys over the head with a hammer or something. You know, like that's what little Pat was expecting.
So I have to.
So that was an emotional disappointment. That was then.
I feel it's not to derail the topic, but it's interesting to come up because I feel like that's something that needs to be discussed, especially when you're like when you play games as a kid. The realization that there are various depth levels to video games. Like, not every game is going to be a platformer like Mario or a Zelda. Like,
but on the NES at the time, that's what you were expecting, right? That's what you're expecting,
right? Like the first time I rented Star Soldier as a kid, I didn't like it because I was like, "What the fuck is this? I'm just playing this stupid spaceship game."
You didn't know there were shooters?
Well, I mean, I did, but I didn't know that that's what I was getting. You know, the cover shows the guy holding the fucking gun and like, you know.
You said you rented it?
Yeah, I rented it.
Did you look at the VidPro card and the back, whatever that?
Anyways. Obviously, Star Soldier.
You're in defense. There's a guy holding a gun on the cover.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I said.
He's like this,
But I mean, so that's also partially, you know,
false advertising.
But it took me a while to, as I grew up, I realized that no, there's a lot of there's different levels to games. You can enjoy an arcade level game differently, you know, just as much as you enjoy something like Mario 3. But you might not always be in the mood for it. And if you're expecting one thing and you get the other, you're going to be pissed.
That kind of happened, I would say, to a much smaller degree when I got Jaws. And then again, my mom bought the copy off the back of a truck.
Sure.
So it was only $10 for that brand new. So that was like, my mom figured, all these games are usually $40 or $50. I'm going to buy them no matter what. And then I could shut them up for like a few months.
Right.
Mom, you didn't shut me up though when you got me Kung Fu instead of Contra by accident. And I was crying about that because it's not the same game.
Good game though.
Kung Fu?
Yeah.
It's not Contra, Ian.
No, it's not. I'm just saying.
It's not the same genre. It's not the same name.
Nope. I'm just saying it's a good game. Didn't say it was better. I
Yeah,
just said it
4
was a good
stars
game.
according to certain NES guidebook. But excellent game for what it is. Anyway, but those are my emotions when I think of that. But in terms of like accomplishments, oh yeah, I felt accomplishments when I remember the first time, running through people playing Street Fighter 2 in the arcade, things like that, and it's like, well, I'm my quarter. I don't put up a quarter. I'm still beating people.
Yeah.
Or defeating Stuttering Craig at NBA Jam in the arcade and seeing how annoyed he was. God, it was so good. Those are more like petty emotions, though.
I've had some emotional moments beating you at pro wrestling, so yeah, I could see
You beat
that.
pro wrestling twice ever, Ian. You haven't defended your title in 3
I
years.
think I've beaten you more than twice.
I think it's vacated your title officially. You didn't bring it last year.
Come and get it.
You didn't bring it. No, you didn't bring it last year, did you? No,
No,
you're bringing
I
it
didn't.
this year. We do the 10th annual, and probably last NES marathon. 10. Wow, it'd be 10 years.
Yeah.
2010 October.
Jesus.
We'll see about October. We'll see October, November. We'll see. We'll bring it back there. Hopefully, COVID's gone. And we can get our buddies to come down.
COVID
ruins the NES marathon as well. Anyway, yeah. In terms of other emotions, any anger you ever got at not beating a game that stands out? Obviously, we've all been angry video games. That's an emotion people don't usually talk about.
Well, that's the weird thing. And I can say this.
You don't get angry.
There's a negative that can be associated to a degree. I don't get angry about video games. I just don't. I've never been a controller thrower. There have been things in video
you
games.
don't get angry. You're not a real gamer.
Yeah, I've lost. I've already lost. Well, and that actually leads to I don't really have like a competitive drive. I'm not very competitive. I'm just not. I mean, I like to win, sure, but like I don't care about constantly winning or constantly being the best. If I lose a game, I never got to the point where I was like wanting to throw a controller. Yes, obviously you can get stressed out by games, and that's totally fine. But I always simplify it by saying video games are supposed to be fun. If I'm not having fun, I just turn it off.
Sure.
What are you shooting at?
Try to hit the Windex.
Great.
Oh, I didn't cock it back. And I hit my Saturn games by accident. It's fairly accurate. It's not bad.
So no, anger is not an emotion I associate often with games. It really isn't.
Have you cried playing a game before?
No, I don't think
Misty-eyed?
I've cried.
I got misty-eyed. Or at least like, I think I told you the first time I beat ActRaiser.
Sure.
Because it's mini stories of like honor and sacrifice, like sort of these little moral stories with these little tiny characters. It's like, oh, I have a feeling of connection to these.
Actually, I could
folks
I could
somehow.
say that about Valkyrie Profile for the PlayStation 1, which is actually it was made by Enix. That's another game where like the characters you play as like never really realized the parallels before because the gameplay wise it's not the same, but you play as like a god character. You play as a Valkyrie in the game. You actually control her, but all of your party members are these normal people who have lived and died and had sad lives essentially, and you're basically getting them ready for the war
Norse
in heaven.
mythology-based role-playing series. Oh,
It's
I
a
don't know anything
great
about
game.
it.
Very, very good, and it's very sad, very emotional throughout.
So there's like little stories.
Yeah, every time
that.
you find like a new character, there's a little story about how they died, their circumstances when they died, because all the characters you're playing as are characters you're bringing back to life.
Ah.
So yeah, it's a sad game.
Yeah, there was a couple of sad. I mean, ActRaiser, God, it's so great. There's the one where like the guy's like, oh, his last dying wish is he wants to feel like the rain on him, and he dies, and it's like, oh, you made him happy in his final day. It's like that's kind of heady for a Super Nintendo game. There's other ones like sacrifices and things like that, or the people. Yeah, like goddamn, we need a real ActRaiser 3. I might do it myself, like Thanos picking up the Infinity Gauntlet. Since that last whatever Sega wannabe ActRaiser game supposedly was horrible that came out last year. It was like a spiritual successor to it.
It wasn't Sega.
They published it.
I don't think they even. I have it on the Switch. It's not good. It controls like absolute dog shit.
Whatever it was, I thought Sega published it. Whatever. Anyway, so you have to look it up right now.
I'm curious.
Are any other emotions? You never got misty-eyed
No.
playing something?
Soul Seraph was the name of the game.
Soul Seraph?
Yeah, 5 out of 10 on Nintendo Life. It's not good.
How do you spell Seraph?
Seraph.
Ah. It is Sega.
Yeah.
Publish it. I know my ActRaiser stuff. You know why?
Yeah, publisher did.
There's only been one
Yeah,
good.
and Ace Team was behind it too.
There's only one good ActRaiser game. That's why the sequel is okay. The sequel is good, but it's really tough. Graphically, it's really good. It got a positive review in the guidebook. Did I review that in the guidebook? The second one, I can't remember. I think I did. I think I reviewed the second one. That was rough to get through that one, but it was good for it was better than average. I think I gave it better average or good, because the double jump and the diving thing was really weird there. Sorry, so Soul Seraph wasn't good.
No,
right.
it controlled like absolute
All right,
shit.
before I retire, I'm gonna either see an ActRaiser 3 properly produced or do it myself like fucking Thanos. I'm tired of getting screwed up here. That's my vow. It'll get done.